for that reason, I will be opposing the motion. Further discussion?
Call the question.
All in favor of Mr. Burke's motion?
Aye.
All opposed? No?
No. I would also move that a questionnaire, as was outlined in my letter to you, Alex, dated December 7th, be sent to all of the provisional voters. The questionnaire in the draft letter, as was outlined in the letter on December 7th, is here. I've got 2 extra copies. It's that, as you all have seen it before.
Just point of clarification, I believe what you're talking about is the 840 provisional voters.
Correct.
Ballots were rejected with being cast.
Yes. Sure.
I will second that motion.
Discussion? I'm stand on what I've said earlier about bringing poll workers down, bringing voters down. It is something that just, I think, goes well beyond where we ought to be at this point. And I would prefer that we bring poll workers down first, and that once we review poll workers to determine whether those errors, then and only then should we bring voters into a public forum or send them a questionnaire in this circumstance. It's a public record. So again, I'll oppose contacting voters at this juncture. I know the directive said the board may, it gives us some leeway. Again, I'm citing to Secretary Bruner's Directive 80, where I believe she said we have the option of doing that. For that reason, I'll be, at this juncture, opposed to bringing voters, or to questioning voters with a questionnaire.
Mr. Chair, I just would like to comment, and I've said this before previous meetings, but in the instance of poll workers who dealt with probably hundreds of folks on election day, my guess is in some cases going to be difficult for them to remember every single voter and what took place with each voter. On the other hand, each voter cast only one vote, and they will remember what happened on election. And they have a very real interest in making sure that we understand what happened, and also in making sure that their vote is dealt with properly. So I think it's of utmost importance for this board to hear what voters have to say on this subject.
Further discussion on the motion?
Mr. Chairman, I agree that first we should proceed with whatever investigation is in front of us with respect to the poll workers. And I agree that at this juncture it is premature to invite voters in. Excuse me, sorry, we must first determine through those people that work for the Board of Elections if there's any indication of voter error. And we can proceed from there. So I will also vote no.
Call the question.
All right, all in favor of the motion to send the questionnaire to voters, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Nay?
No.
I want to say something. I'm very concerned that today because it was the only thing that we could get approved, we are embarked on a process that could take months. When the sheriff's office finds out we want him to subpoena more than 2,000 people here, I think we all know what the response is going to be. But in order to try to get a process moving, which I've been trying to do all week long, now I sent my letter to my colleagues on the Board of Elections 48 hours in advance of our prior meeting. When we met, and many of you were here the other day, right as we walked into the meeting, we got the proposal from the chair of the board. Same thing happened this morning. We got here and we get a 4-page single-spaced letter from the chair. I had reached out yesterday, knowing that the chairman was in Columbus on business. I reached out yesterday to Chip with the suggestion that I hoped would be positively received, that he and I try to get together and come up with agreed upon questions that could be asked of poll workers. That offer to try and do something meaningful was rejected. I think it's important that we now, having adopted this, we set some schedules. And I had planned with my family and children and grandchildren to be in Cleveland on Friday and Saturday this coming week for Christmas with my mother and sisters in Cleveland. I will cancel that. The way that the rest of my family can go. No, let me finish. Because I'm afraid what we have to ask now, because we're not getting things done around here, because so many people have holiday plans, I'm afraid we have to ask our Board of Elections staff to cancel all vacations until work gets done around here that relates to compliance with federal court orders. And I think we as a board have to, unfortunately, begin scheduling now meetings. And I am proposing that we begin to meet at 8 o'clock on Thursday morning, because that time the sheriff should have been able to subpoena some of these people that we want subpoenaed. And we continue day to day until we have completed interviewing all of these folks that you want subpoenaed in here. I don't think we have any other choice if we're going to try and get this done. I think it's crazy, but my motion is that we call a board meeting for Thursday, December 16th at 8 a.m. and we begin with whoever the sheriff has been able to subpoena by them, and we continue day to day until we are completed. I so move.
My motion said board staff should make a recommendation about how to proceed, and that motion is passed. So,
Your motion included a call to subpoena all of these folks in here. Let's get it going. We've continued to ask board staff for recommendations. We've not gotten any recommendations. And I don't want to delay any longer for any reason. It's just playing a game with the federal court. And I don't want, for one, to be held in contempt by the federal court for not complying with the order. I'm trying to move forward with the motion you proposed.
and the federal court said, as did the directive, that we are to question poll workers.
Then
We have
bring them
different-
in. Bring them in. You asked to bring them in. Let's get the subpoenas issued and get them here.
It seems to me to be the only way that you want to question them is the way that you want them done, and the way that one side wants it
I
done.
just agreed with you. Bring them in, but let's move on.
Just so we're clear, our motion was that board staff make a recommendation as to what the schedules ought to be. And I'll also tell you that my motion is not intended to have you cancel your family vacation.
Alex, we got no choice. We're here to do a job for the public, not to delay. We're here to get it done. Let's get it done.
We do have a choice.
Are you rejecting scheduling the board meeting?
No. I'm trying to, first of all, get you to calm down. So
I'm not going to calm down. I'm tired of this. People have been coming in. We know what needs to get done. Let's get it done. This is absolutely crazy what we are doing. You all have succeeded in delay after delay, and you are continuing to do
that's
it.
false. That's false. We have not tried to delay this process. We've tried to find a good faith way. We've tried to find a good faith way. We've tried to find a good faith way to do what's required by law. Let me just make it clear. State law tells us if you vote the wrong precinct, your vote doesn't count. You want to change state law in a Board of Elections meeting. That can't happen. We have a federal court that said examine and investigate. We have a directive that says question poll workers.
Alex, when you were sitting on the bench as a judge, what would you have done if a plaintiff came in and said, Your Honor, I've got 2,000 witnesses to call?
I would first of all want to understand what my order was originally, because I don't understand what the order, I've been grappling with it since it came down. We've tried.
And when it came down, you could have requested clarification of the order. You didn't. You've taken every opportunity you can to delay. And asking the staff to delay what the clear intent of your motion was, to come in with a new recommendation, just let's get them. If you want them subpoenaed, subpoena
I
them.
could have asked for clarification, but of course you voted against our continued representation by our lawyer, and the secretary agreed that we
I
could.
voted
You've
against
interrupted me twice,
appealing.
for the record. You've interrupted me a couple times, just so. All right, how do you look from, went Thursday at 8 a.m.? All right.
I'm also free.
We shall begin then on Thursday, December 16th at 8 a.m.